Hello class 9 students, welcome back to the history class. Today we are going to discuss economy and society. In the previous video, we've already discussed the political condition of Russia, which gave a fertile ground for revolution. Revolution kina huncha when we are not satisfied with certain system and we need to change. So what was the political condition which led to the revolution, Mandahari? We already know that there was an autocratic ruler called Tsar Nicholas II who believed in the divine rights of king. In his kingdom, bureaucracy or the nobles were at the highest position. They were at the top and they were heavy. In the same time, they were inefficient and they were recruited on the basis of their birth, not on the basis of their merit and ability. Tsar Nicholas did not show any interest in the welfare of his subjects in the kingdom. So this was the political condition. People of Russia were not quite happy with Tsar Nicholas. Today we are going to talk about the economic and social condition of Russia that prevailed, that gave rise to the revolution. Talking about economy, Russia ma beginning of 20th century ma 85% of Russian population they earned their living from agriculture. Okay, comparing them to other European countries like France and Germany, the proportion was between 40% and 50%. Okay, France ma khali 40% people were dependent on agriculture and 50% of people in Germany were dependent in agriculture, whereas in Russia 85% of Russian Empire's population earned their living from agriculture. And it was surprising to know that they did not only earn for themselves, they also exported the grains to other parts of the country. Now, secondly, one was agriculture. The second economy that we are going to talk about in Russia in the beginning of 20th century was industry. Now, industries were found in pockets. That means, found in pockets is a phrase. It means they were very less in number. Kamti thyo. Okay, very less kamti industries. We could only see industries in certain areas. Duita area ma. One is St. Petersburg and the other is Moscow. Most of the works were done by local craftsmen. Local craftsmen ne काम गर्थ्यो त्यति बेला त्यहाँनेरि factories हरु industries थिएन. But slowly in the year 1890s के भयो, slowly it showed the growth of industries. Industry grow हुन थाल्यो. के कारणले? What were the factors that led to the growth of industries in Russia? Number 1 चाहिँ के भयो? Railway network extended. Railways extend हुँदै गयो. You all know that railways are needed to carry things from one place to another. It is fast also, it is quick, efficient. So railways expand हुँदै गयो. Number 2, foreign investments in industry increase. Foreign investments foreigners interest देखाउन थाल्यो and this is how industries increased. सँगसँगै अर्को factor चाहिँ के भयो? Coal production doubled. Coal ko production, koila ko production double भयो. You know children, there were no electricity, so major work in industries, in railways were done by coal. So coal production was also doubled, okay, from 1890s. Iron and steel output, the output of iron and steel quadrupled. That means it became 4 times more than before. Okay, so therefore, slowly when we saw the growth of industries, people started migrating from rural areas to the cities and towns. And there emerged a new class, and this class was industrial workers. Now these industrial workers who made the industries productive, just जहाँबाट चाहिँ productive बनाउँदै थियो, जुन जसले चाहिँ इन्डस्ट्रीजबाट फाइदा निकालिदिँदै थियो, प्रफिट दिँदै थियो इन्डस्ट्रियल वर्कर्सहरूलाई, उनीहरूको कन्डिसन चाहिँ was very bad. They lived in misery, दुःखमा बस्थ्यो उनीहरू है. They did not have political rights. Their working hours were very long. Sometimes, they used to work for 10 to 12 hours also, sometimes 15 hours also. Small workshops मा त 15-15 घण्टासम्म पनि उनीहरूले पढ्ने गर्थ्यो, उनीहरूले काम गर्नु पर्थ्यो है. And the accommodation varied from rooms to dormitories. सानो सानो शिफ्ट वाइज सुत्नु पर्ने क्या, उनीहरू कोही बेला बङ्कर्सहरूमा सुत्नु पर्ने, डर्मेटरी सानो सानो एरियाज डर्मेटरिज रुम्समा सुत्नु पर्ने, 6-6 घण्टाको शिफ्टमा उनीहरूले सुत्नु पर्ने. सो द कन्डिसन वाज भेरी भेरी पुवर. वेजेस त्यस्तै कम्ती थियो, उनीहरूको जति पनि हाजिरा पाउँथ्यो वेजेस द्याट वाज अल्सो भेरी भेरी poor. And there was a very common problem, and that problem was unemployment. Unemployment चाहिँ कसरी हुन्थ्यो भन्दाखेरि, when there was heavy demand, the industrial workers would employ many workers. Many workers लाई काम दिइहाल्थ्यो डिमान्ड बेसी छ भने. When the demand was less, निकाली पनि दिइहाल्थ्यो. So there was no job guarantee है, त्यसले गर्दा अनइम्प्लोयमेन्ट पनि पुरा बेसी बढेर गएको थियो है. And very important, children, the industry was mostly a private property. Industry is private property. If you remember, हामीले अगाडि पढेको सोशलिजममा है, सोशलिजम एन्ड क्यापिटलिजममा कार्ल मार्क्स, फ्रेडरिक इङ्गल्स उनीहरूको सबैको सोचाइमा हामीले हेर्दाखेरि क्यापिटलिजममा चाहिँ के हुन्छ, मिन्स अफ प्रोडक्सन्स आर कन्ट्रोल्ड बाई प्राइभेट इन्डिभिजुअल. र यो प्राइभेट इन्डिभिजुअलले चाहिँ आफ्नो प्रफिट मात्रै सोच्छ, म्याक्सिमम प्रफिट मात्रै सोच्छ, मेन इन्टेन्सन नै उनीहरूको प्रफिट हुन्छ, जसले गर्दा उनीहरूले वर्कर्सलाई चाहिँ के गर्छ, दे नेग्लेक्ट, दे ओभरलुक देम. ओके, सो यहाँनिर गभर्मेन्टले दे ट्राई टु कन्ट्रोल दिस थिङ्स बट द रुल्स वेयर ब्रोकन. सो द कन्डिसन अफ वर्कर्स वेयर नट भेरी गुड इन रसिया, जसले गर्दा पनि it was a ripe ground for revolution. Okay, now here the workers were divided into social groups. Okay, some of the workers had a strong link with villages. Jun village बाट उनीहरू आउँथ्यो, they had a strong link with their villages. That means they used to work in a town for a certain time and they used to go back to villages. But there were some workers who had permanently settled in the cities. So दुई किसिमको वर्कर्स भयो, एकजना चाहिँ who had a link with the villages and some workers who had permanently settled in the towns and cities. त्यस्तै प्रकारले skilled वर्कर्सहरू पनि थियो, skilled. For example, metal workers at सेन्ट पिटर्सबर्ग, यिनीहरू चाहिँ अलिकति एरिस्टोक्रेटिक हुन्छ नि, अलिकति उनीहरू लेभल हाई थियो उनीहरूको, किनकि उनीहरू मेटल वर्कर्स थियो र उनीहरूको कामको लागि चाहिँ दे वुड निड मोर ट्रेनिङ एन्ड स्किल. सो वर्कर्सहरूको क्याटेगोरीमा माथिल्लो लेभलमा अलिक एरिस्टोक्रेटिक लेभलमा चाहिँ को आउने गर्थ्यो, मेटल वर्कर्स. देन दे वर women who constituted about 31% of the total workers population. Laborsहरूको populationमा 31% चाहिँ women थियो. But very sad, women were not paid as equal to the men. हाफ दिन्थ्यो या फेरि उनीहरूलाई कम्ती आधा, मेनले कति पाउँदैछ त्यसको हाफ दिन्थ्यो या फेरि 3/4 of the wages. So this way सोसाइटीमा वर्कर्सहरूको पनि के थियो, they were divided into various groups. Okay, but still children, these workers, they used to unite. जस्तै लेभलको वर्कर्स होस्, चाहे विलेजसँग लिङ्क भएको हो, चाहे पर्मनेन्टली सेटल भएको होस्, चाहे मेटल वर्कर्स होस्, चाहे वुमेन होस्, they used to unite. They had that unity when they had to come together against their employers for strikes. Okay, next is उनीहरूले एसोसिएसन्स फर्म गर्थ्यो. They used to form the associations to help the members during unemployment. Okay, frequently स्ट्राइक्सहरू पनि देखा पर्नु थाल्यो बिस्तारै बिस्तारै, कहाँनिर टेक्सटाइल इन्डस्ट्रीमा अनि मेटल इन्डस्ट्रिजमा इन 1902. अब यो त भयो in the areas of towns and cities. Now I am going to talk the situation in the countryside, that is village. Now रसियामा सेल्फ डोम सिस्टम भनेको चाहिँ एउटा यस्तो सिस्टम हो, फ्युडलिस्टिक सिस्टम हो, under which peasants work for the landlord without wages. Okay, पैसा बिना हाजिरा बिनै काम गर्नु पर्थ्यो खाली उनीहरूले के पाउँथे इन एक्सचेन्ज फर फुड एन्ड सेल्टर यो सेल्फ टर्म सिस्टम एबोलिश भइसकेको थियो बट एबोलिश हुँदा पनि स्टिल इट वाज गोइङ अन okay it was still going on and peasants were they had to live in misery उनीहरूले दुःखमै बिताइरहेको थियो पेजेन्ट्सहरूले किनकि मैक्सिमम ल्यान्ड्स वर स्टिल अन्डर जार या फेरि उसको नोबल्सको अन्डरमा थियो है फर स्मल ल्यान्ड होल्डिङ्स सानो सानो ल्यान्ड होल्डिङ्समा जहाँ उनीहरूले किराय लिएर जति पनि कल्टिभेसन गर्थ्यो त्यसको पनि उनीहरूले दे ह्याड टु पे हेभी रिडेम्पसन ड्युज रिकभरी ड्युज त्यसको लागि पनि उनीहरूले एकदमै बेसी पैसा तिर्नु पर्थ्यो है सबै स्टेट्स बेसी जस्तो वास्ट स्टेट्स वर ओन्ड बाई रसियन नोबल्स अर चर्च सो landless people were many in numbers in Russia. The peasants, they always had a hunger for land. Unala land चाहिन्थ्यो land. Okay? And the relationship between nobles and the peasants in Russia were mostly based on mistrust and suspicion. एकअर्कालाई ट्रस्ट गर्दैन थियो जहिले पनि शङ्कालु नजरले हेर्ने उनीहरूले कहिले पनि रिलेसन राम्रो थिएन सो द्याट इज वाइ पेजेन्ट्स अलवेज डिमान्डेड फर ल्यान्ड अफ द नोबल्सको ल्यान्ड चाहिन्छ हामीलाई दिनुहोस् है एन्ड दे फ्रिक्वेन्टली रिफ्युज टु पे द ट्याक्सेस कोही कोही बेला त दे इभन मर्डर्ड ल्यान्डलर्ड्स ओके we can see that in France and Russia the peasants were different okay Unlike France, where peasants respected and fought for nobles, फ्रान्समा नोबल्सको लागि रिस्पेक्ट दिन्थ्यो उनीहरूको लागि फाइट गर्थ्यो तर रसियामा नो दे वान्टेड टु ग्राब देयर ल्यान्ड्स सो रसियन पेजेन्ट्स वर डिफ्रेन्ट फ्रम अदर युरोपियन पेजेन्ट्स उनीहरूकोमा सोसियलिजम अगाडिदेखि देखा पर्थ्यो बिकज टाइम एन्ड अगेन उनीहरूले दे युज टु पुल देयर ल्यान्ड है एउटै ल्यान्ड उनीहरूले पुल टुगेदर गरेर उनीहरूले पिरियडिकली उनीहरूले कल्टिभेट गर्थ्यो ओके अनि जति पनि कम्युन भन्दछ यहाँ मिर भन्दछ तिमीहरूको बुकमा कम्युन एन्ड मिर मिन्स प्रॉफिट इट वाज डिवाइडेड अकॉर्डिङ टु द निड्स अफ इन्डिभिजुअल फ्यामिलीको निड अनुसार कम्युन पनि दिने गर्थ्यो सो दिस वाज द कन्डिसन अफ पेजेन्ट्स इन रसिया एन्ड here we can see that Russian peasants were also suffering and the workers were also suffering and this was creating a ripe ground for revolution